attendees are in listen-only mode.
Welcome to this morning's Internet Helpline session with your host, Craig Proctor.
Hi, and welcome everyone to our Monday Helpline call. Today we have Christy Fillion from Success Website. We also have Blake Corey, one of our most successful coaching members with us. And Christy is going to interview Blake, as I will as well. And Blake's been very successful with Facebook as a lead generator. We were just talking before we got started here, and Christy and Blake and I were making the point that you can generate all the leads you want from Facebook, but if you don't understand how to reach the leads or what to say or do, well, it's all kind of for nothing. So Blake rather is going to talk about all of that. He's going to talk about what he's doing to generate leads. He's also going to talk about specifically what happens when he follows up with the leads as well. So I'd like to welcome both Christy and Blake to our webinar. Good morning.
Good morning, Craig.
Morning, Craig. Morning, Christy.
Morning, Blake. Thanks for joining us today.
My pleasure.
And by the way, sorry for the Jake thing. I coach my son's hockey team, and we have 3 Jakes on the team. So
don't worry about it.
Actually,
Jakes are top of mind today.
Yes. Blake and Jake. Okay, so look, I'm going to start this off, if you don't mind, Christy. Blake, let's talk about specifically what you're doing to generate quality leads on Facebook, because what I often hear from members is that, I'm either not generating leads on Facebook or the leads aren't of very high quality, and that's really not what you're finding, correct?
Not at all. Not at all, Craig. I'm finding that they're extremely high-quality leads, and as a matter of fact, myself and my entire team, right now, over 70% of our business, maybe even over 80% of our business, are coming from Facebook advertising.
Okay, now talk about the exact campaigns that you're using that are producing the best quality leads for you, and then we'll talk about who follows up with the leads and what happens. What I want to sort of strip away today is some of these myths. Some of our members think that it's difficult or complicated to do what you're doing, that it's difficult to reach the leads, or not difficult, impossible to reach the leads, that these leads, they're tire kickers, they're not real leads, and et cetera, et cetera. I mean, you've heard all that before from some of our members. So let's start at what are the messages that are most successful for you, and specifically how you're fine-tuning your targeting in your marketplace.
Well, the most successful campaign for me so far is a low down payment hot list. And the way that was developed was actually by your teaching, message, media, market match. So what we did was, after being in the market, obviously, and selling real estate, I noticed that a lot of people were coming into my market, first-time home buyers, below $80,000 in income, and utilizing FHA loans. And so I took a property that we had listed for sale. It was in a market, it was like $270, and I wrote it in your style of classified, with the low down payment, XYZ down, $1,500 down payment, wrote it in classified style, just like it was going into a newspaper, and put it on Facebook. It boosted the post, and that one advertisement made me, I think, additional, $50,000 in GCI in about 4 months.
All right, let's talk about why that technique it works. Let's talk about why it's a really smart strategy. I think all of you are aware that there are buyers in your marketplace, maybe within a 10-mile radius of your office. There's hundreds, potentially thousands of buyers that don't believe they can afford to buy a house, but they really can. So that's our market. The potential here, or the opportunity here, is to call out to buyers that perhaps don't think they can afford to buy a home, and we're going to show them how how they really can. So many buyers perceive that it's harder to get a home loan than it is. Now, we have to be creative to help some of these people. And also buyers, they're afraid of disappointment. I mean, if I'm a first-time buyer, I guess I'm looking at ads and I'm looking at properties, and I'm fearful of disappointment. I'm thinking, you know, it sounds like a nice house, but why get excited about it if I really, you know, I can't afford it? So that's really the opportunity here, and you're doing a very good job. You're saying that they can buy a home with $2,000 or less, and of course you're making a promise that you can keep. I mean, you're not when these buyer leads come in, can you help buyers? Of course you can't help all the buyers. We never can help all the buyers, just like we can't help all the sellers. But there's a large percentage of them that we actually can help. So we're using affordability as the unique selling proposition in this campaign. Now let's talk about how you're specifically targeting who you want to see this ad and who really you don't want to see this ad.
Well, the way we're targeting now is different than the way when we first started running the ad, Craig. We actually now can see where the majority of our conversions are coming from, you know, what age group, you know, men, women, all that kind of stuff. But as you can see in the ad right here, through testing, you know, through testing and testing, I mean, months and months of utilizing this ad, we've found out that we could actually narrow down the funnel in the ad itself. And as you can see on the screen, we've added in there credit score requirements, income requirements, you know, a lot of different things have been added to it because it produces so many leads. We can do this, and now we've actually had the cream rise to the top. So almost everybody we're talking to has the credit score requirement and makes within the income range. As you can see, we were getting people before that were making under 50,000. We're so busy right now having so many meetings that we don't need to anymore, that we don't even need to deal with those people anymore, because now we're focusing in right where our bread and butter is, right in that income, right, you know, right in that income range.
All right, let's talk about how you follow up with one of these leads. So lead comes in, now are you calling them back, or you have a team member calling them back?
I'm calling them back now because they make us so much money. You know, I'm the best ISA on the team, so I'm actually the one calling them back.
Okay, did everyone hear that? Because many of you want to abdicate responsibility. Blake recognizes that he can make a lot of money if he actually calls these prospects back. Plus, it's pretty difficult to delegate the follow-up part if you yourself are not good at it. How could you possibly train someone else to be as good as you? And the answer is you could not. So this is a rainmaker activity. Blake understands that. He's calling back the leads himself. So tell me, is it impossible to reach these people like I've been told?
No, not at all. Not at all. If you give them something that they want, they'll give you accurate information. If you are really making an irresistible offer, so to speak, you'll get exactly what you want. I mean, every ad we've always run on Facebook, I mean, yes, of course, there's that percentage of people who put inaccurate information, and you can just look at the phone number. Look at the name that they give you. Usually it's an off-the-wall name or phone number, you know, 555, you know, 1212. Okay, that's not an accurate number. But no, we get really good information. We get, you know, accurate phone numbers, accurate email addresses.
Okay, you call the prospect once and it goes to voicemail. Then what?
You want my exact formula of what I used to get a hold of them? Okay.
I want to know what you do.
And hey, I just want to point out one thing to all the callers, because to me this is really important. Craig, you told me exactly what to do and in the way to hire people onto the team. And last year I didn't listen. You know, I went off the path and I hired someone who I thought was an excellent inside sales agent, and it made me have an awful fourth quarter. And I took that responsibility back, and I went back and said, okay, I'm not going to do it this way. So now I'm on the phone doing rainmaking activities, and we're making more money than ever. I'm not showing buyers houses. I'm not doing any of that, but I'm on the phone scheduling appointments, utilizing the universal callback script, and we're doing more volume now than we've ever done. So just wanted to point that out real quick for the callers.
Can I say amen?
Yeah,
I just want to get everyone to do what you're doing.
And to be honest with you, man, when we were doing it last year, I had sales training in the past, and so the ISA that I brought on, I incorporated a little of the universal callback script, a little bit of my past sales training, and unfortunately, we couldn't get through all the leads. Leads couldn't get through. So at the beginning of the year, I said I'm going to be dedicated to following the universal callback script, do whatever I can to get off the phone within 2 to 3 minutes, and just blow through them. Now, utilizing that, if they're over 6 months, boom, okay, here we go. Find the missing piece of information, get their address, send them something in the mail, follow up with them half the time and move on, because there's other people here that I need to follow up with to get in the office right away. And if they're motivated, Craig, I found if they're motivated, they want to make a move, they'll take your offer and come into the office. I mean, they just
right,
will.
But it's got to be a good offer. You have to
an irresistible offer. It's like that brick of gold, like Todd said. I mean, it's like if you were offering them a brick of gold, would they come in the office? Sure, they'd all show up. Mm-hmm. So, but anyways, what was the question that you just asked?
Okay, when you call them, if it goes to voicemail, I'm assuming you don't do what some of our members do, which is throw their hands up in the air and say, well, I gave it my best shot. I called them and it went to voicemail. So, I guess this lead's not very good. What happens if it goes to voicemail?
I hang up and I call them right back. So Perfect. I hang the phone up, I call them right back, and 50% of the time they answer. And I say, oh, yeah.
Because that makes sense, right? And this is what I was training. I've got two inside salespeople at my office that I've been training. I said 3 because I had 3 until Thursday. Now I only have 2, if you know what I mean. Yep. So now there's 2 of them, and I'm teaching them how to get a hold of people, because nothing good can happen if you don't reach them. And one of the techniques, you've all heard me say this, is you call. If it goes to voicemail, you hit redial and you call them right back again. Does it work always? No, but it works, 40, 50% of the time. So that's a simple technique right there. Okay, now if you reach them, obviously you go through the script. If you don't reach them on the immediate callback, then what?
Well, for me, I actually leave a voicemail, and it goes, hey, John, it's Blake. Call me back, 951-595-9163. Thanks.
Okay, so you don't say, this is Blake, the real estate salesperson.
No, they'll never call me back.
I really need a closing this month, and right, okay.
No.
Right, so this is Blake. Could you give me a call back? So what
I always say their name, and I go, hey, John, it's Blake, and I make it sound so natural, like I've known them from the past or some sort. Hey, John, it's Blake. Call me. 951-595-9163. Thanks. And I can't tell you how many people call me back.
Just when they call you back, it's not like they can be upset because they contacted you first. You're returning they inquired, and you're responding to their inquiry. They gave you the phone number. You called it, and you said, this is Blake. Call me back. So they call you back, and you go through the script, and some of them are ready to act now. Some of them are no good to you at all, and you do not pursue them. And then you have those leads in the middle. They're not ready to buy or sell today, but they're going to do something over the next couple weeks, the next couple months. How do you follow up with the buyer that says, I don't know, I'm not ready to do something for 6 months?
Well, I make the secondary offer of the newsletter or of some sort, you know what I mean? We have different tools in our business. I make the secondary offer. I get the missing piece of information, which is their address, and I put them on a follow-up plan, and then I set a reminder to follow up in half the time. So if they're looking to make a move in the next 6 months, I follow up with them in 3 months. But we have some systems and tools in our business in place that they're consistently seeing my name and my USP in the mail and the email. And a lot of them, right, Craig, to be honest,
which is important.
A lot of them call me back.
None of it, yeah, but none of it works. Okay, none of it works without that initial phone call.
No, none.
Blake, we have some members that they believe that if they generate a lead and then they send some emails and some voice blasts and some newsletters or whatever out, that eventually the fish will jump in the boat. Okay, you got to call them. Now, all the great marketing that you do helps, right? In addition to the phone calls that you make, but you take away the personal phone calls, and this whole thing doesn't work. The marketing that you do, in addition to the phone calls, preconditions these prospects to do business with you. Predisposed, I guess, is the word I'm looking for. When you follow up with them, because of the marketing that you're dripping on them after their first point of contact, they're more ready to act with you to do something, right? They're open. They're easier to convert. So that's all important. Okay, but I want to stress that without the phone calls, without reaching them, and without following up with them on the phone, this doesn't work. And the best person to do it is you. That's what you found out. You said last year, I didn't do that. I gave the leads to somebody else. I delegated or abdicated that responsibility to someone else. Now you've taken that back. What has that done to your profitability now that you've taken it back?
Sky high.
Okay, so this is what I did. I'm just saying, I'm telling you guys what I did. This is how I made millions and millions of dollars selling real estate. Even when I didn't need the money, I called the leads back. Did I have a couple of inside salespeople? Yeah, I had them, but I trained them on how to do it because I was really, really good at it. See, Blake, you're able to do that now. You're able, once you're really, really good at it, to show other people how to good at it. But even when I had a couple of other inside sales agents that were very good at this, I still cherry-picked the best leads.
The leads.
Yeah. And why is this smart? Because you'll make more money. I'm going to argue more money calling back those leads than anything else you could do in your real estate business. You'll make more per hour doing that, even going out on the appointments. Okay, so how do you use Success website? How do you work with them? How do you work with Christy and all the good folks at Success website?
How I work with them. Honestly, I mean, obviously running my Facebook advertising, but at the end of the day, there is one rep over at Success website. Her and I test advertising all day long, see what works, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, so you're involved in it. Okay, so this is the other point I want to make. Okay, we talked a second ago about not abdicating responsibility to the follow-up. Okay, so I would say that's a critical mistake. You see it being made with our members all the time, Blake, where they're like, well, I'll generate the leads, but I'll just give the leads to somebody else. The other mistake is abdicating responsibility for your marketing. Nobody cares more about your marketing than you do. So you need to work with Success website. Okay, and that's what you do. You don't just call up Success website and say, hey, it's Blake. I'm out in my boat today, or I'm out in the golf course, and could you guys figure out my marketing for me? Because I can't really be bothered being too involved in that. You guys do it. You don't do that. You work with them, and here's how we figure it out. You've often heard me say there are no great marketers. There's only great testers. So it's not like every Facebook ad you've run has been a jackpot. Because if everything you did on Facebook was a jackpot, you could just abdicate responsibility. No, because what happens is you run an ad. Who are you working with at Success?
Jenny.
Jenny, okay. So you run an ad. You and Jenny talk about it, and you say, we're going to test this. And then we're going to tweak it, and we're going to test this, we're going to test this, and you tweaked, and you test, and you tweaked, and you test, and you measured everything you did until you found out what worked the best. Is everyone listening to us right now doing that? And the answer is no. So that's why you don't get the results that Blake gets, because you're not doing what Blake does. You're not taking advantage of the great support staff at Success website. You're not testing and trying it. And maybe I shouldn't talk in absolutes because I'm sure some of you are. But we all need to do it this way. That's what I did. So Blake, you're doing what I did, and you're getting really good results. You're following up the leads just like I did. And so we just want to keep reminding everybody that the only way I know how to make a lot of money in real estate is to do what I did. And that's what we teach, and we keep reminding everybody. You said yourself, Blake, you said, last year, you said, Craig, I fell off the wagon, right?
Mm-hmm.
You knew this, but you didn't do it that way. You said, well, I kind of, I listened to it, I tweaked it a little bit, but you weren't making the calls, you weren't doing it exactly this way. What happened? didn't work as well.
Well, not all. I mean, I get so many leads a day because for me, I will say this one thing, Craig. The coaching members that my coaching members through our system, the ones that complain are the ones that are not generating leads. For me, I generate 20, 25, 30 leads a day, through my different sources. We're always having appointments. If there's 1 or 2 wrong numbers, 5 wrong numbers, so what? Doesn't matter, on to the next one. But it's really the people who aren't generating any, and when I look over what they're doing marketing-wise, they're either doing nothing or they're running ads that don't match their marketplace whatsoever. Okay, you want to know why you're not generating leads? It's not what your market wants. Why aren't you testing things?
So Blake, I mentioned my son's hockey team.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually not the head coach. Okay, I'm an assistant coach. But what happened over the weekend is we got blown out pretty badly on both games. Yesterday, the head coach walks in and he just says to the players, you know what, I really got nothing else to say to you guys. One of the kids kind of argues with the coach and blames the coach. He says, you really aren't coaching us properly, you're not teaching us things, which is total nonsense because the coach is the best coach my son's ever had. But the irony is the kid that's complaining is arguably the worst player on the team. He doesn't follow the systems. He doesn't do what he's supposed to do. Then when we get bad results, he blames the coach. And I just thought, that's just typical, right? So the coach is a volunteer, of course, right? The coach doesn't even have a kid on the team. Like, I'll tell you this, I wouldn't be doing it if I didn't have a kid on the team. I can guarantee you that. But anyway, yes, we have a good system with our team. If all the players followed the system, we get good results. Despite the fact that we got blown out on both games in the weekend, some of the kids aren't going to follow the system, but they're going to blame the coach. Now, my son's had this same coach for 3 years in a row. The other years, we did great. Same coach, different players. Same system, but different players. So we got a system here. We got to make sure everyone understands the system. I want to keep showcasing those that are really successful over and over and over again. And if you're listening to this and you're not having the success, you're going to hear what the successful people are doing over and over again. You're going to hear the same theme, and then you've got to ask yourself, why don't I just do what they're doing? Blake, even you are saying, you know what, I went offside on this a little bit. Right? I knew this, I heard it, but last year I didn't do it exactly right. Now you are. Big difference. Let's go talk about some other Facebook campaigns that you're having a lot of success with.
So I don't know if Christy's going to bring up, but we run a pool home ad. I live like 40 minutes from the ocean, but out in my market area, everybody loves pool homes. I mean, that's one of the things that people want. And it was through different testing, we found out that's the majority of what people want. So we run pool home ads, and it attracts a lot of move-up buyers, and works very well. We've done a lot of testing with it, even just tweaking words here and there. But that's another one that works really well. Now, some of the coaching students have run it in their market, and it has not produced very well. Well, what is that telling you? It's not really what your market wants. Figure out what your market wants, and there you go. I mean, but it's going to take testing. If that's one thing a lot of people could take away from this call, it's to test. You cannot be afraid to spend money to test. And Craig, also one thing I want to point out, I'm not sure why, but even some of the coaching students that I have, we ran ads and they produced appointments and signed buyer contracts. And 2 weeks after running it, the person wanted to change the ad. And I said, why? Well, isn't it kind of getting old? Running it when it stops making you money.
Yeah, okay, so what happens is we become sick and tired of our marketing before the marketplace does. And you probably heard me say this before, Dwayne, you probably heard me say this before, Blake, but I've had people come up to me at a conference and tell me about something they heard me talk about this morning, and it reminded them of something they did, and it worked so well, and they made all this money because of it. And then I said, well, why aren't you still doing it? and they've got this blank look on their face, and they really don't know why they stopped doing something that worked. But a lot of realtors do that. Even something that works gets abandoned because they get sick of their own marketing long before the marketplace does.
Why do most of the people, especially like I try to teach people, when you're running ads, when you're doing marketing, put it into a spreadsheet, track how much you're spending, and track your ROI. What's your return on investment? And if it's producing a return, why would you ever stop?
I'm looking at some of the questions that have come in here, and I'm going to ask you these questions, Blake.
Okay.
But one of them from Phil is on this very point. What is Blake's daily budget for Facebook? I mean, we have members that are very concerned that this is going to cost a lot of money. What do you spend? It's not expensive to do this, right?
Each ad, I spend $5. And to be honest with you, Craig, the only reason that I spend $5 is because I have, let's say, 4 ads out there that produce better than any of the others. But let's say $20 a day, which is only $600 a month. And by the way, those ads will probably make $30,000 to $40,000 a month minimum off running it. But I just can't. I can't take any more leads. Like, I'm at the point where I'm like, I can't do anymore. I can't take any more on, and that's why I don't up the ad spend, because it just produces me too many every day to try and follow up with.
Nice problem to have.
Yep. I'm actually hiring I'm in the process of training a full-time but nurturing ISA, the people after I've tried 3 or 4 times to get a hold of. It's usually a minimum for me of three different days that I've tried to get a hold of. I put those on the next ISA because there's so many good quality leads. I just got to cherry pick. I got to be the first one to get them in the office, and after a couple days, then I've got to pass them on because I'll never get through the good ones then that are coming in on a daily basis.
Okay, Karen Dorn's asking a question. Karen says, I've been told not to leave a message when we reach voicemail, but Blake does, and it works. Do you suggest that we leave a message? Look, I never left a message until it was kind of a last resort, but Blake's talking about testing here, and that's what you should all do. Okay, if you can't reach them, then test leaving a message. If it works, then you keep doing what works. If you're leaving a message that doesn't work, and that's what most agents do, hi, this is Joe Blow with Keller Williams. I'm a real estate salesperson, and I'm trying to get a hold of you. What that tells the prospect is, don't answer the damn phone because there's a real estate salesperson that's trying to reach me. That's not what you're doing. You're saying, hey, Joe, this is Blake. Give me a call. If it works, do what works. Okay, Aaron Moore wants to know, can we hear Blake's pitch on the $2,000 down? It's your pitch. I guess they mean your offer.
Oh, my offer for the $2,000 down? Well, my offer has to consist of, and this has been tested probably for 6 months. It really is no different. The universal callback script is the offer. The only thing I incorporated into it was, along with a free kit of information on all the down payment assistance programs, which a lot of this information you can't find anywhere online. So that's the only thing that I added to it, because that's for those prospects coming in, that's really what they wanted, along with how to find the property. So I don't go off the universal. I go directly. I mean, the universal callback script is what I follow. The only thing I added to the offer was that right there. So that's it.
I was hoping you were going to say that. It's the universal callback script. That's why we call it the universal callback script. That's why, Blake, we don't call it the sometimes callback script. It's the same script. It's the same offer. We get asked that question quite often, Blake. What if it's a move-up buyer? What if it's somebody we met at an open house? What if it's assigned? It's universal. It's the same offer. If we have an offer that's really, really good, then we should use it all the time. And if we can think of a better offer than that, we should all be using that offer. But since we can't, we should probably just stick with the universal script, the offer that's made there. So let me demonstrate how that might work. So Blake, you might say something like this. You might say, so you're the prospect. So I would say, Blake, would you like me to email you daily updates of all the homes that you can buy for $2,000 down or less? Our list includes bank foreclosures, company-owned properties, and distress sales. It's a free service, and you're never obligated to do anything. Would that be helpful? They almost always say yes. The resistance you might get is when you talk about when can we get together? That's the resistance. But how often does a buyer say, no, I wouldn't like the thing that I just responded to get? That doesn't happen.
No, yeah.
If they didn't want it, they wouldn't have contacted you to ask for it. Okay, let's go through a few more questions we've got, and then we'll move on. Okay, so the next question is from Douglas Johnson, Sr. He's asking, what HDX are you using and what CRM are you using? I think you're just driving them to the landing page, aren't you?
Yeah, it's just a squeeze page through a Success website.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So Douglas, Blake is not driving to an HDX page. He's driving to a less branded page. So there's one of them. Christy's got it on the monitor right now. So he's not driving these prospects to the HDX. He's driving them to a less branded landing page through Success website.
And Christy, will you show them? There's an updated 2K down squeeze page. I just wanted to point out to all the users on here, because I know there's a bunch of coaching members that are using similar squeeze pages, but we've actually added something to it. It's pretty cool. A lot of people were inquiring, going on to the hot list, but we had a little button on there where they can actually just check it off if they want more information on the programs themselves, which has added another layer for me to know, who am I contacting first? Because a lot of the people that were scheduling appointments immediately, getting them into the office and getting them signed up, are the people who are inquiring more about the programs and how to get qualified rather than just searching for the properties. So it's just another added layer we've added.
Okay, one of the questions here is, what are the best campaigns for Canadian students in the Toronto area? Look, most of them, you don't have to change at all. Now, there was one, Christy, if you can flash it back on veterans. It's a VA. It's a VA campaign. Okay, you're not going to run this in Canada. The reason you're not going to run this in Canada is we basically don't have a military. We kind of rely on you for that, Blake. So if anything happens, come and help us, okay?
Yeah, you got it.
All right, so tell us about this campaign.
Well, I live right between, I live in Southern California. We got military bases everywhere. And so we decided to start testing this, especially around the big military base in Oceanside, which is Camp Pendleton. It's got like 60,000 Marines. And so VA buyers are very predominant in our marketplace. So I wanted to actually run an ad and test it, pretty much getting people who were active military onto the site, because what we were offering was an exclusive list of VA-approved homes. So we knew the people coming here were veterans looking to make a move. So it's still, we're testing it in different market areas, different, specific lists and all that kind of stuff. But no, that's exactly what it is, because I knew a lot of my marketplace was actually veterans. When I went through and looked at the previous year's sales, it was I think 23% of the sales in my market area were veterans, VA loans.
Here's a question from Kenneth Lee. Blake, how often do you place a new ad on Facebook?
I haven't placed a new ad in probably, 2 months, 3.
Boom. Okay, that's the answer. Because, Kenneth is saying, are you just placing the same ads that work over and over again? And the answer is, yeah. Isn't that what we want? We want stuff that works that we can run over and over again.
And do you know, Craig, actually the Facebook analytics, the longer you leave it there and the more traffic it has, the more likes, the more shares, all that kind of stuff, it actually gets priority placing during hours compared to other ads that are being turned over frequently. You actually get better placing because the Facebook algorithm is based on engagement, if that makes any sense.
Yes. All right, let's take a few more questions. Then we'll look at a couple more examples. Janet Ellen is asking, do you do all your ads as boost posts?
To be honest with you, I don't believe, boost posts are running, most of them are just ads, but I let Success Website deal with that. There's no way I'm going to spend my time doing all that little work right there. It's not worth my time. No offense. It's not. I pay them to do all that.
Okay, fair enough.
To me, it's not a rainmaking activity to get on there and spend 15, 20 minutes building the ad. The ad's already built. It's just, it's just work to get it up there.
All right, this has nothing to do with the actual Facebook ad, but Marita's asking, Blake, when you offer a list of VA-approved homes in your area, where do you get that list?
Success Website. They put it together a list. I give them what the criteria is, and they put a hot list together.
Okay, Verlin wants to know, what are your callback schedules? Do you call these leads as soon as they come in, or do you dedicate like a couple hours every other day? How do you keep disciplined, I guess, to call back all the leads?
So, first off, good time management. I have specific time blocks in my schedule every week to call. One of the things I also require is like on Thursday nights, we call it team call night, and I go through the leads before they come in. So from 4 to 8, my entire team comes in, and to kind of get through the old stuff, that we've tried 5 or 6 times, I hand those off, the best leads to the best inside sales. But yeah, I have time blocks 3 or 4 times during the week at night from 4 to 8. And then when they come in, if I'm able to get to them, I will. If I'm not, they will at least be touched every single day. I make calls every single day.
Blake, do you know anyone else that did it that way?
If I'm not mistaken, didn't you used to make calls from 7 to 9 or 6 to 9 o'clock at night?
Right. So these questions that we're getting asked, I must be a horrible teacher. Because, I don't know, maybe it's in my imagination, because I think we've talked about this a lot, right?
I remember you telling me this.
Okay. So, I don't know, maybe I stopped after I told you. I must have stopped, because this is what I'm harping on all the time, and I want to make a big deal about this. I have to be your loving parent, okay, but I have to be kind of stern. I have to be your loving and caring parent. But I kind of got to get you guys. I got to get you guys on board to do what I'm telling you guys to do. You need to create a perfect week. That's what Blake does. He has set times in his schedule, in his week, where he calls the leads back. So if it's between 4 and 6 on such and such a day, and somebody wants to list their home at that time, Blake says, "I'm sorry, but I've got a commitment between 4 and 6. Can we do it before or after on a different day?" You need to treat this time block, okay, this appointment with yourself to call the leads back, with the same importance that you would treat a listing appointment. If you had a listing appointment tomorrow at 7 o'clock, you would be at that listing appointment. So we need to do this. Okay, how about this? If you were really, really good at following up with the leads, you wouldn't need near as many leads. The reason many of you have to generate so many leads is because what happens once the lead is generated is so ineffective that your conversion rates are so low that you've got to spend more money and more time following up with, haphazardly with more of them. So this is a situation where unless you fix the follow-up part of it, it really doesn't matter how many leads you generate. And Blake, that's exactly what you determined last year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, take a few more questions here. I've got to be the stern and loving parent. I like that. I'm going to write that down. Stern and loving parent. Okay. This is from Vic. Hi, Craig. I noticed some of the success landing pages are different than your actual specific landing pages. Well, Vic, some of the campaigns that Blake is offering are not campaigns that I offered, like the list of VA homes being in Canada. But we're featuring Blake because what he's doing is working. Who are you using again at Success website, Blake?
Jenny and Chrissy.
Jenny and Chrissy. Okay, let's bring Christy into the conversation here.
I'm here.
Do you like that I've done most of the heavy lifting here for you today?
I love it.
You know, I wanted to make it easy for you here today. Okay, Christy Fillion, I'm going to say it's true, is an excellent person for you to talk to. She's been with the company for a long, long time. I don't think I've ever heard anything negative ever about you. If you're not having the kind of results that you expect to get, then you want to reach out to her, and she will make her contact information available. There's no reason for any of you to struggle with this because there's lots of Blakes out there that are members of our program. Blake, you know, you're not the only one in captivity, right? When you come to our meetings, you hang around with other guys like you.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys compare notes. So there's people that are very successful, but there's those of you that seem to keep doing things that aren't working, and there's just no reason for it. So we're going to keep showcasing our successful members until even the biggest skeptics that are with us here today think, well, there must be something to it, because all these other people are singing the exact same song, they're doing the exact same thing, they're getting these great results, and all these other people can't be wrong. So we're going to keep at it. If you have more questions for Blake, type those in. We can also take some audio questions. Let's go back to Christy, though, for a minute. Christy, what have we not talked about today?
I believe we've covered a lot. I loved the conversation about follow-up and Blake's strategy with following up, because I know that many of our members are just having a hard time reaching people. So that trick about, you know, if you don't get them the first time, call them right back 5 minutes later. I have been showing some screens here of my leads and how we can help you here at Success Website to manage your leads and really stay on top of your follow-up. So one thing that I always recommend to all of our members is you have a CRM. Okay, when you join Success Website, you have a CRM. It is built in to the system. It is called My Leads, and I'm always surprised at how few people know this. So I want to make sure that everyone understands that you do have that. And what I encourage you to do is when a new lead comes in, you want to get into the lead and you want to do a couple things. First, you want to call them right away. So get on the phone, call them. If you can reach them while they are still in front of their computer, you're much more likely to convert that lead. We all know that getting them on the phone, engaging with them, and then scheduling a next call date is what you need to do. So Blake, when you get on that first call, do you get an appointment most of the time, or is this just sort of a way for you to introduce yourself and get them the information?
I get an appointment if the timing and motivation is correct. I mean, if they're looking to make a move in the next 3 to 6 months and they're motivated, yeah, I get an appointment because they're looking for help. They want what I have.
Okay. Now that you've established the timing and motivation, because that's the whole goal of this script, is to establish timing and motivation. For those who are not ready to move, who are just curious, because on Facebook you get a lot of people who are just, you know, they're browsing, they're clicking on things. Many of them click on things by accident. If somebody is not ready, what is your strategy?
It's my strategy if they're not ready. I find I get the missing piece of information by offering them, if you look at the universal callback script, you can offer a market watch, the newsletter. Offer the newsletter, get the missing piece of information, put it in there. The follow-up systems are already in place. You're already sending them properties as soon as they come available through your Success website. And then my Market Watch newsletter that goes out to all these prospects. From there, I set a task to follow up in half the time. So if they're looking to make a move, when they say, yeah, we just re-signed a year lease last month. Oh, so you'll be looking to make a move in about 11 months from now. Yeah, okay, great. Well, then, do you mind if I follow up with you sometime around then to see if I can be, any assistance? Yeah, sure. Okay, great. So when I put it up in my calendar, I don't follow up at that time. I follow up in 5.5 months, and they're already getting daily updates from this system. So, the structure is in place. It's just, I don't know. To me, I don't get frustrated when they're not looking to make a move right now. Maybe that's just me.
Well, I think you're taking a systemized approach to your follow-up. So, what I'm demonstrating here is that what you want to do when you follow up with the lead is make notes, make detailed notes, so you know exactly what that conversation entailed, and you want to set a next call date. So if you want to take a very disciplined approach to this, you just want to make sure you do those 3 things with every single call. You call them right away, you make detailed notes on what happened during that conversation, and you always set a next call time and date, because it is going to take 3, maybe 4 calls before you actually get to that stage where you're meeting with them and they're ready to make a move.
Christy, I'm always putting notes in the system as if 6 months from now I have a full-time ISA where they're doing all the heavy lifting on the calls. Maybe I'm off, living the lifestyle. So, and at that point in time, I'm always making notes just as if they're going to be plugged into the system and they need to have a clear understanding of what's going on. I don't make notes for me 12 months from now. I make notes like somebody else is going to be coming into the CRM and taking over for me.
Really smart. Yeah, just like when I do things, I always create a checklist, because I'm always thinking, 6 months down the road, I don't want to be doing this all the time for people. I want to be able to pass this on to somebody else to do it.
Well, Mr. Proctor is making me take 11 days off coming up in March between being out with Jay Macklin in Phoenix for 4 or 5 days and then going down to Fort Lauderdale, Miami area with him and Todd for the Platinum event. So it's kind of like, I get 11 days off. Somebody's got to man this stuff.
That's
well,
right.
That's what's supposed to happen, right? Your business is supposed to get better and better and better, so it enables you to make the money you want and have time off, because that is what success is. Success is not just about money. It's not just about time. It's about freedom. And to have freedom, you've got to have money and time.
I always refer back, Craig, to the analogy of McDonald's. You built the McDonald's, you know what I mean? The $1 million formula. Why don't people just follow it? Seriously, just follow it and you'll be it'll work.
I don't know. I guess that's like saying Craig Proctor knows where the gym is. Why don't I go there all day? Like in different areas of our life, we need help, right? So look, we're going to keep giving everyone examples of what to do and try to strip away some of the old paradigms. This is very easy to do, but it's also easy not to do, right? So let's go back to some of our questions here. Mike Boychuk says this: Blake, when you get a request for a hot list of whatever you're offering, explain in detail what happens next. So, for example, he says, for me, we manually create a list of homes from my MLS, and we send it out from MLS along with the appropriate email template. Blake says his Success website generates the list. My question is, who sends the information out to the prospect for Blake?
Everything is automatically done through Success website. I don't do anything. So what I'm saying is, like, the hot list, once they insert their information, they're taken to my Success website HDX page that has the hot list of properties right there. I don't send them anything. Now, maybe Christy, maybe you can answer this question. Is that just because I'm part of one of the big MLSs in the United States, because that we can do that, or I may, are other people able to and they're just not doing it? I don't know, but it's automatic. Christy can show you that once she actually logs in, it reroutes her. Once she gives her information, it takes her to a page that provides the hot list of properties.
That's correct. Yeah, we do have our HDX site, which is connected to the MLS. So in Blake's case, if we're serving up properties for veterans or the 2K down home, Blake will tell us what type of list he would like us to put together, and we take the live data, we compile that list, and then we can serve it up when the prospect requests it. So this is, we've got hundreds of members using the system right now, and you could be eligible for it as well. I will put my contact information into the chat panel so everyone can contact me if you have more questions about our HDX. What I'd also like to do, just before I forget, is give everyone this link as well. And if you are interested in a free marketing consultation call with someone like myself or Jenny, and you want to talk about how we can build your campaigns and really play a more proactive role in your marketing, I strongly encourage everyone to sign up for that free marketing consultation call because, you may be in a different type of area. I know lots of people on this call today are in Toronto, for instance, and you're not quite sure if some of these campaigns are going to work in your area. We've worked with thousands of real estate agents through the Craig Proctor program for the last 18 years and can tell you, what's worked well for agents in your area just like you. So I'm going to post this, and everyone can go to that page and fill it out, and we will give you a call. We'll tell you exactly what we can do for you.
Well, I'll tell you this, Christy. One of the coaching students that I have, they actually, after looking over their marketplace and really dissecting it, we noticed that a lot of the sales in the market area were seniors, were 55 and older, in 55 and older communities, and yet nobody was marketing to them. So we started, they just started testing a new hot list with you guys based around senior communities. So they get a hot list of communities for 55 and older under so much, da-da-da-da-da. I mean, it's literally, and now it's just when I talk to them on Thursday, we'll see the results. We'll see what's going on. But guys, make sure that if you do have a Success website, I have it in my schedule every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks I spend 30 minutes on the phone with Jenny, and we review the ads and how they are performing. If they aren't performing well, why aren't they performing well? And I use Mr. Proctor's spreadsheet where every marketing dollar that goes out is tracked. What's going out, how much is it costing, how many leads did it bring in, how many appointments did we schedule off of it, how much money did we make off that marketing.
Okay,
well, let's talk about. Okay.
But he just said so many important things there.
Right.
I want everyone to write down. There's just a couple takeaways. Brilliant things that Blake has said. Now, I said them first, but that's okay. You might listen to Blake because you're not listening to me. So I'm going to write down. The words came from Blake. Okay? So let's write down these wonderful ideas that Blake has shared with you today. Okay, one of the ideas is you've got to follow up with the leads and do exactly what we teach you when it comes to lead follow-up. Many of you are not doing that. Number two, you've got to work with Success website on a regular basis and pay very careful attention to number three, the results that you get. Okay, Blake didn't run his first Facebook ad and go, oh my God, I'm a genius. What he did is he tried and he failed and he tested and he tweaked and it got better and some worked and some didn't work and they got better and better and better and better because he worked with Success website in tweaking and tweaking and tweaking this until it worked. And then once it worked and he couldn't make it any better, it's rinse and repeat. He's running the same ads over and over and over again. I'm not sure where all that background noise is coming from, but it sounds like we're having a garage sale here.
Yeah, I don't know if Blake decided to trash his office right in the middle of your.
Did you fall?
Oh no, I'm just sitting here in front of my computer. That's weird.
Okay. Yeah, do you hear all that? I don't know what it was, but
I heard it, yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, look, maybe it's a frustrated member. Maybe they're threw their computer out the window. I don't know what that was, but look, that's the takeaway I got here is you're actually just doing what we teach, which is you're working with Success Website. You're not abdicating responsibility. You've rolled up your sleeves. You get involved. Let's try this. It didn't work. Let's do this. You tweak, you test, you tweak, you tweak. You let the tracking that we have is the most beautiful part of the system. The fact that it can be tracked means that you can test. You can compare this to that to this to that, and that's what you've done a good job of. And then you call the leads back yourself. You call them back, and you're disciplined about it. You have a perfect week. You schedule the follow-up time, and because you paid attention to the script and you practiced with it, here's what happened. You became better and better and better and better. Now, at some point, you're going to be so good and so disciplined with the follow-up part of it, you will be able to teach someone how to do it like you. But you can't, none of that can happen until you're really, really good at it. So we're running out of time here. I'm going to recommend that you folks do what Blake has shared with you here today. If you're not having success with your Facebook campaigns, you do the same thing that Blake did. You reach out to Success Website. You reach out to them and you say, look, what I'm doing is not working. And you keep working. Don't abdicate this. Don't give away the responsibility to engineer your business. If you give that away, you're giving away your right to make money. Why would you abdicate that to anybody? Okay, so you get involved. Blake didn't abdicate responsibility. He didn't say, okay, someone over at Success, you're in charge of my income. He didn't do that. He works with them. Back and forth, testing, trying, a bunch of stuff didn't work until he figures out what works the best. And then he calls the leads back himself. He doesn't abdicate the follow-up to somebody else. He calls them, and he calls them, and he calls them until he reaches them. He leaves messages. If they don't call back, he keeps calling them. And he's really, really good with the script. If you're not good with the script and making the offer, all the leads will seem to be bad leads. You will consistently get nowhere with everybody, and you'll blame everything except for the real problem, which is you on the phone. You said something really important a second ago, Blake. When we were talking about follow-up, I think Christy or someone else asked you, what percentage of the time do you book an appointment? And your answer was perfect. You said, well, I only book an appointment when I should. I don't just book an appointment because I can. You only book an appointment when the prospect has answered the questions to your liking. You're doing the interviewing. You can pick and choose who you want to book an appointment with, but you're
Muted.
not even verbalizing, you're not communicating that appointment unless the prospects answered the questions to your liking. What is to your liking? Motivation and timing. If they're motivated and the timing's now, you're making an offer to get together with them. If they're not motivated or their timing's way off in the future, you're not trying to book an appointment with them. You may follow up with them, or you may deem that the lead is just, not worthy of you at all. So in a way, you're making an offer in every case, either an offer to meet with you, an offer to follow up, or an offer to have a nice day.
Can I also point out one thing, Greg? In the past, just so a lot of members know this, just because someone books an appointment with you doesn't make it, no offense, doesn't make it a good appointment. Here's what I mean. I've seen a lot of my coaching students book appointments with people, and I've asked the question, well, they're struggling because they're like, so many people aren't coming. Okay, well, let's dissect it. Now, when we look at it, the timing and motivation is off for the people who aren't coming. They're not motivated. Their timing's not right, and they're not showing up. So a lot of the members are setting themselves up for failure. And so that's why I say, just because you can doesn't mean you should. You're wasting your time right now. Put the follow-up system in place, and when the timing's right, there's enough motivation there that they'll come into the office. They'll want to seek you out rather than you having to always seek them out.
We're going to finish up with this comment. This is from Mike Matz. He says, very good information today. I have it on my to-do list to reach out to Success Website, which I'll be doing today. So that's my recommendation. is just do exactly what Blake has done. Reach out to Success website. They have hundreds of members from your state, your province, if you're in Canada. They have people in your area. You can't use the excuse, well, this works for Blake in California, or it worked for Craig in Toronto, but it's not going to work for me in Florida, because we have lots of members in Florida doing it as well. You've got to get rid of those excuses. You've got to take personal responsibility for your lead generation, your follow-up, just like Blake did, and you'll start to see the same results. It's that simple. So we'll keep doing this once a month. We're going to feature a different one of our members that's having success generating leads online. I want to thank Blake Corey for doing this today. Okay, he didn't get paid to do this. He's a busy, obviously successful realtor. And Blake, I want you to thank you, first of all, for being a Craig Proctor coach. Second, just a great member and advocate of the program. And thirdly, for helping us out here today. Blake doesn't have a horse in this race, but we'd all like you to be successful. And so would Christy and all the good people over at Success website. So Christy and Blake, thanks for doing this today. We're going to wrap it up, and that concludes today's webinar.
You're welcome, Craig. Absolutely. Anytime you guys would like, I'll be here. Thanks, everybody.